I'm talking about who you think are the best performers this season. If the Ballon d'Or was to hold now, who would be on your
All right,
podium for top three
all right,
players?
all right. Rafinha started well, but he faded off. So I think Yamal has been more consistent. I would have Yamal. I would have Rafinha. No, sorry, Yamal, Salah, and lastly maybe Harry Kane.
Okay, that
Yeah, those
that was
three.
unexpected. That took me off guard. I'm not even gonna lie. That took me off guard.
He's been doing that consistently. So
Don't explain. Don't
it
explain.
has been seen
Don't
as
explain.
normal.
Welcome to yet another edition of the Late Goal Podcast. On the Late Goal Podcast, you know that the drama never ends. It's always non-stop drama. And today we've got quite a lot of things to discuss. It's been a very fantastic week, especially in the Champions League. I'm sure that, the Arsenal fans that were in high spirits last week, or would I say 2 weeks ago, should be calm by now, at least going by their recent results in the Champions League. I've got quite a full house today. I've got our regulars and we've got a couple of guests as well. I'm going to start by introducing them one after the other. I'll begin with Cass. How are you doing today, Cass?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. And welcome, guys. Hope you're prepared for a very good episode.
I've also got Samson, our AC Milan military man. How's the week been, Samson? Samson, we cannot hear you. Can you unmute your mic? Can anyone
Can
hear
you hear me
Samson?
now?
No. Yeah,
Can you
Yes,
hear
I
me?
can hear you now. How are you doing, Samson?
We thank God. The week has been good. We're pushing it.
That's good to hear. I've also got Ahmed. Ahmed is joining us again. Unfortunately, last week, I think he had a bit of a problem with a bit of technical problem, but we're glad that he's here today. How are you doing, Ahmed?
Yeah, I'm very well. Good. Looking forward to all that.
Joining us for the first time on the show, I've got Tayo, an avid Arsenal fan. He's been supporting Arsenal for as long as God knows how long. How are you doing, Tayo?
I'm very, very fine. I'm doing great. Feels good to be on the show for the first time. I feel excited.
Yeah, it's good to have you on the show as well. At some point, we expect to have JD. I'm an Inter Milan fan, and hopefully, we also expect to have Toasting, Arsenal fan. He was here last week as well. So you can see that it's a full house. We've got 7 top analysts on the show today. And so just the way we've got quite a number of guests on the show, we've also got a lot to discuss. I'm going to try to take them one after the other. As usual, the show will be divided into 2 sessions. Both sessions are made for your consumption, obviously. We try as much as possible to split them into 2 different uploads on YouTube so that it doesn't, it's not too much for our consumers or our audience to consume at once. We've all seen the Champions League over the past week. We've seen Arsenal face PSG at the Emirates. We also saw what I would consider one of the best games of this Champions League season at in Spain. It wasn't at the Camp Nou. I don't quite remember what the name of that Barcelona stadium is now. But we saw what was one of arguably the most interesting games in the Champions League this season. Guys, what are your first thoughts about that game? I'm going to begin with Tayo. I'll let him open the floor with his initial thoughts regarding the Champions League games that were played over the weekend, over the week rather, and what he expects in the coming week as regards the Champions League.
Yeah, basically, for me, I think nobody's qualified yet. Everybody's still hanging there. Although some teams still have the edge over the other. For example, PSG, as we speak, still have an edge over us now. At the end of the day, it's still all to play for. Still very much all to play for. It's just 1-0. It's a very slender lead. Anything can happen in France. And like Ateta has said, he's confident that would turn things around. Hopefully, let's hope that
Just they play.
the return of Partey will probably change Arsenal dynamics in the approach of the game. As regards Barca, Inter Milan, that was a dramatic one. We saw a game of football And like I always say, for me, I would tip Baka to go through. Let's see. Things can change, but as we speak, I think Baka has a chance.
Are you
And
sure you
it's
want
your
to play
first
Baka in the
time on the
final?
show and you're already making enemies. Imagine tipping Barca to imagine tipping Barca to
Leave him
qualify.
now.
First time on the
Leave
show.
him.
When you have an Inter Milan fan as the host, I'm going to remove this guy
Leave.
from this show. But well, I hope for your sake and for many Arsenal fans' sake that Arsenal go through, because it will not be funny if Arsenal do not go through, especially when you consider what has happened in the Europa League, over the last week as well. We have a situation where several English teams might pick up trophies this season. Newcastle already picked up one. Liverpool already filled the Premier League. Manchester United and Tottenham might end up with trophies as well. And then you have Chelsea in the UEFA Conference League also looking to pick up a title. So, like I said, for Arsenal's sake, I hope that you guys qualify and maybe, just maybe win the title for the first time in your history. Ahmed, what were your feelings?
Oh,
Or what are your feelings about the games that were played during the week, and what do you think will happen in the coming week?
Beautiful. Vika, if you remember clearly, in our previous episodes, you asked if Arsenal victory over Madrid was a one-off. And I remember clearly pointing out that as much as we should give kudos to Arsenal for knocking out Real Madrid, I said it that Madrid is not one to write home about. They have been packed, like they proved on different occasions this season. And Arsenal beating them is a good result, but it is not something you should start getting over the moon about. And PSG just proved that a team that beat Madrid home and away lost at home to PSG. You are telling me it is because Partey didn't play, or it is beyond
Are
Partey
you
not playing.
discreet? Are you
Quality would.
PSG?
That's the point I'm making. I'm telling you, Arsenal are getting overboard because they knocked down Madrid. And I mentioned in previous episode that as much as that is always a good thing, that's a good thing for Arsenal fans to beat Man. But it is nothing to get over the moon about. You've not gotten the job done. You've just knocked out a poor Madrid side. So PSG has proven that to them by beating them in the front of their own fans. Now let's see how they will overturn that away in PSG. I wish them all the best of luck trying that. And secondly, the game between Barcelona and Inter Milan, an interesting encounter for the neutrals. Like I always mention, even when Inter always doubted his Inter Milan side, I mentioned repeatedly that this Inter side is one side I respect so much as far as the mentality is concerned. They are a team that went 2 goals up in Camp Nou. For many sides, Barcelona got back in the game. Many other sides would lose it mentally, psychologically, and get picked apart. Like I always say, that mentality is something I look to have for my team, and they proved that they actually picked themselves up, get back in front. Luckily for Barcelona, they equalized, and they were actually saved by tiny margin, tiny offside margin. If not, Inter would have gone ahead again in the game. So I think that a lot of kudos should be given to Inter. A lot of viewers wrote them off before the tie, and they went over to Camp Nou, got the job done. Yes, the tie is not over. They still have a great tie, a great task to do in San Siro. But judging by the way they held themselves up until this moment, I don't think Barcelona would have it any easy. Even if they are going to knock it out, they would definitely do that by working their socks off. So not that they will just beat Inter easily like many predicted. So kudos to Inter, and I am finding it hard to predict the second leg. Aside the tie in Paris, PSG will definitely get the job done. Arsenal are out.
Anyways, I think I agree with you that Inter in particular impressed me because, like I said several times on this show, I wasn't expecting much from that game. But it's a good thing that it went the way it went. There's a bit of more confidence on my end with regards to that second leg. I do know that it can go anyway because Barcelona is a very, very strong team. Also, Inter have put themselves in a position to actually qualify because the worst case scenario, in my opinion, would have been to come out of that tie with a 2-goal deficit. I was hoping for maybe a 2-1 or 3-2 loss, something to still 5 points second leg. But to then come out of that game with 3-3, with a 3-3 draw, man, I would say that, well, that's really good. But still talking about Arsenal, Tayo mentioned that something just before he disappeared. He mentioned the absence of Thomas Partey. I was watching that game, and I was particularly impressed with PSG's midfield trio. Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, and was Neves. I can't remember
Joao
his first name
Neves,
now. Is it Joao Neves?
the civil servant.
Yeah. And Arsenal's trio was more of a Merino, if I remember very well, Merino,
Odegaard,
Declan Rice, and who was the third guy now?
Odegaard.
I'm trying to
Odegaard.
yeah, Martin Odegaard. Do you think that Thomas Partey's addition in the second leg particularly gives Arsenal some sort of advantage? Does it increase their chances in any way?
Okay. I remember when we did Arsenal Madrid combined 11, and Yinka,
Can
you
something
had.
hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
okay, please continue.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
So when we did the Arsenal Madrid combined 11,
Yes.
Yes.
and Yinka had Thomas Partey in his midfield, he gave us some reasons why he had Thomas Partey, and it showed in the first leg. For a very large part of this season, Declan Rice already got used to playing as a box-to-box midfielder. Now, the absence of Thomas Partey.
It looks like we've lost Samson again. I'm going to allow Cass take over from where he stopped. Do you think that Partey's presence in the second leg, we expect him to play in the second leg, obviously. Do you think that his presence in the second leg gives them any type of edge? Does it give them a boost in midfield, for example?
Okay, I was going to go almost in the same direction where Samson was going with regards to the fact that Declan Rice has almost become a bit more comfortable offensively, understanding the fact that Partey would be able to cover him. But you could see against PSG, it was a bit different. The Rice couldn't really advance, didn't have that freedom offensively in terms of he was trying to be a bit careful and considering the fact that Merino is a bit slow, so you can't overly say this is how because I always tell people the defense is always the first thing you look out for. At the beginning of every game, it starts at 0-0. So you have to first defend that first before you start thinking of, okay, how do we get in a goal? So I think that was what really played more in their head. And coupled with the fact that what Ahmed said, they were still basking in the euphoria of we won Madrid, and then they allowed that to cloud their judgment to see every other person probably they were going to play as. Don't worry, as long as you are not Madrid, we will be fine. We will be fine against you. But I think Thomas Partey will bring in a bit of solidity to the midfield for them. Will give them a bit of avenue to attack, like do more in the attack compared to what they did at Emirates. But I would sway onto the side of Ahmed and say I don't really see Arsenal doing much. Yes, they would defend, but the question I've been asking every Arsenal fan is: will you guys be able to stop PSG from getting a goal past Raya? And that's the
Absolutely.
question that is very hard. It's very hard to answer. So I don't know.
Well, you also have to consider the fact that, according to reports, Dembélé will be missing the second leg. I think Ousmane Dembélé.
Might. They said might be
he
missing,
might
so
be
we
missing
don't
the
know yet.
second
Can you hear me,
leg.
everybody?
Something that I believe would be a very huge loss for them. But I digress.
Yes.
Tayo, you were going to say something.
No, he was
Yeah,
asking
can you
if you could hear him. Yep.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
So digress. I'm still going to stick with the Partey question, because I think that apart from the defensive responsibility that Partey has, one thing that he offers that Arsenal midfield is also control. He's somewhat assured on the ball. When Partey has the ball, there's this bit of, it's almost like a register, what we call a register in Serie.
Okay.
Register is a DM, but it's a DM that is quite comfortable on the ball. He knows what he needs to do even before he receives the ball. So I think that in that sense, it will be, it would provide a boost to the Arsenal midfield. But at the same time, I think that it might not be enough against this PSG midfield because they have quite a lot of hard workers in that midfield and players that, have control of the ball as well. We have JD with us. JD has just joined us after battling with quite a lot of technical difficulties. It's good to have you here, JD. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good evening. Good to be on session.
Is he
Could
an
you speak a
Arsenal
bit
fan?
louder?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sorry, feel free, feel
You
free,
can throw
feel
your
free.
bounce. You can throw your bounce. It's okay. You can throw your bounce. It's okay.
JD cannot support a club that has never won the Champions League. It's good to have you here, JD. I'm going to throw this question to you. We're still on Arsenal versus PSG.
PSG.
And like I mentioned earlier, Ousmane Dembélé might be missing the game. But apart from that, Dembélé has been one of PSG's brightest stars this season. I know that they've got quite a number of players that have done well. Achraf Hakimi is doing well. Desire Doué is doing well. Richard Kvaratskhelia is doing well. But for some reason, Dembélé has taken a step up this season. I remember being very frustrated with his performances over the past season because of his inability to make proper decisions in the final third or inability to convert, chances. But this season, particularly this year in 2025, he scored 25 goals in 25 games. He
25
actually
games.
has a combined goal and assist of 45 in 45 games this season. Considering the fact that there was a lot of noise about Mohamed Salah at the beginning of the season and his chances of winning the Ballon d'Or, what would you say Ousmane Dembele's chances are this season in terms of the Ballon d'Or race?
Considering his chances in the Ballon d'Or, I think the only constant thing about Ousmane Dembele until now has been his inconsistency. He shows up like a messy player, and in the next week he's playing like one Adama Traore. So I think this season under Luis Enrique has actually stepped up his game. He has been scoring, he has been assisting. More than that, he has been contributing to the general gameplay of the team. And I think he has a shout out for the Ballon d'Or. But going by the other players that work from other leagues, other prominent leagues, and so to say, I think I would really not give him that that much shout for the Ballon d'Or. Because if you look at players like Lamine Yamal, he plays for Barcelona in a more prominent league. To look at players like that. Look at players like Kylian Mbappe in his first season with Real Madrid. He's been making the headlines as well. But I think Ballon, Ousmane Dembele's
Should
chances
that say
rely
any Rangers
mostly
in that
on where they finish.
And Denzel
I think
Dumfries.
his chances
league?
rely mostly on where they finish in the Champions
Dumfries.
League.
Really.
If they can find their way to get to the final, maybe eventually win the
People are not
competition,
serious.
maybe by then it will be among the two most favorites to win the Ballon d'Or. But for now, I don't see it happening.
So you've actually mentioned a number of players. You've mentioned Lamine Yamal. You've mentioned Rafinha. You've mentioned Kylian Mbappe. And of course, we've got Mohamed Salah, who has done particularly well from beginning of season up until a certain point. He seems to have slowed down a bit over the last couple of months or thereabouts. So I'm going to put each and every one of you on the spot now. If you were to pick players for the Ballon d'Or podium, as of this moment, top three for Ballon d'Or. I'm going to begin with Samson, and then we're going to go around like that. Who do you have on the Ballon d'Or podium? First, second, and third.
Okay, I can't say who is first, second, or third. I just have three players that are on the podium. I don't know what arrangements they would. They are my top three players. For my top three, for my Ballon d'Or podium, I would have Ousmane Dembele, Rafinha, and Lamine Yamal.
What about Ahmed?
Thank you. I was almost going to say consensus.
Nah.
Looking at this one.
All right. I would have Salah.
You like controversy.
Secondly, I would
Salah
have. And this is difficult because I would have Salah, but I don't know. This is difficult because a
Well,
lack of
I'm just trying
quality
to
players.
understand who your best players so far this season are.
You
I
can't
mean, if we
It's
were
compare.
to
My
easy.
best
host
It's
the
players,
Ballon d'Or now,
Reinders is number one on my
hold on.
list. If you ask
No, well,
who my
not
best players
particularly
are
your
this
best
season.
player. I'm not talking
Right.
about personal preference now. I'm talking about who you think are the best performers this season. If the Ballon d'Or was to hold now, who would be on your
All right,
podium for top three
all right,
players?
all right. Rafinha started well, but he faded off. So I think Yamal has been more consistent. I would have Yamal. I would have Rafinha. No, sorry, Yamal, Salah, and lastly maybe Harry Kane.
Okay, that
Yeah, those
was
three.
unexpected. That took me off guard. I'm not even gonna lie. That took me off guard.
He's been doing that consistently. So
don't explain. Don't
it
explain.
has been seen
Don't
as
explain.
normal. So he's
Don't
pulling
explain. Don't
out good
explain.
figures in
Don't
Bundesliga.
explain. Don't explain yet. Don't explain yet.
No explanation.
Let's have the three players on the podium.
Yeah, for me, yeah, it's obvious. I feel although there are so many things we would consider in, trying to read the Ballon d'Or players. So I'll just choose Rafinha number one, Dembele, and Yamal. That's in that particular order. Rafinha, Dembele, Yamal.
That's quite a decent pick. JD, I'll let Cass go last.
Yeah, if I were to pick the podium finisher for the Ballon d'Or right now, I think Rafinha will be the first on my list, and another player I'll be considering is Serie. He has been terrific for Barcelona. Forget about the numbers. He has been consistently delivering top notch. Then the last person is probably Ousmane Dembele. The reason I'll be choosing Ousmane Dembele ahead of Salah is because Salah's performances.
I think that's a very valid point. Although we still have the Club World Cup coming in June, July, and I think he might play a role as well after the Champions League. But I'll let Cass also give us his selection. But yes, I know.
So
Yeah, sorry about that.
I
Cass.
would give Ousmane Dembele. Definitely Lami Yamal must be there. There's no way that guy's not going to be there. I would give Rafinha the top spot because I want to go with Dunga. You said what? Who is that?
Tio Hernandez ni.
You said I was going to go with Dunga when he said when he spoke about Salah's performance only being limited to
Domestic competitions.
domestic.
Salah had
Yes,
about 10
and I was
penalties.
surprised that Tayo slide Saka.
I was even expecting him to pick Odegaard. Because Arsenal
Nah,
fans, you don't know what to expect from them.
Ode-
Arsenal fans can tell you it's Freddie Ljungberg. You don't know what to expect.
Saliba.
Their players are the best in the world. Every other player
I
is
think
nonsense.
I think everyone is loving Lamine Yamal because of his performance. People are forgetting that he has done a rapid well this season. He has done about 4-5 months without scoring. I think it was just the Inter Milan game that brought him back into London.
No,
He has been quiet for a while.
but then for crying out loud, this guy is just 17. At
We
17,
can
I
say the
didn't
same
even
for
expect your
Rafinha. If you had
mental
to ask,
capacity.
if you had to ask of the opinion of Barcelona fans on Rafinha, it is nothing to write up about currently because he started the season very well, but he has speeded up since a long time. So I wouldn't have Yamal. I wouldn't have Rafinha on my list. But Pedri is someone that has gone under the radar, honestly.
People are forgetting that Rafinha has over 50 goals and assists. Like 50 goals.
And Rafinha's numbers are crazy. If we're to
We are talking about numbers. Rangers has put up about 20 goals this season from midfield.
I don't want to hear Rangers.
So since we are throwing up numbers,
I'm going to remove this guy.
They are throwing up numbers. Since they are throwing up numbers, Rangers is a midfielder and he has put up 20 goals. So we can't just talking about numbers.
Okay. If we are going to pick Rangers, then we must pick Dumfries too.
Exactly.
But then the thing is, I think there's something we are beginning to forget. The way
we're not just talking about ordinary numbers now. We're talking about crazy numbers.
Rafinha
has what you would consider crazy numbers.
Crazy numbers.
Is 20
crazy
normal for a midfielder? This is Lampard.
Rafinha
It's
has
not
Five
it's
just
not
goal in
one
all
of the
Premier
reasons
about
that
League
20 goals and
5 goal
assists
in
in
At
the
the end of the
Champions
day,
League.
I said Rafinha. Reinders got knocked out in the Champions League playoff. He's currently ninth in Serie A. The only thing
now
he has won so
now
far
you're
is the Super
explaining.
Copa.
Are you taking
We were
No, I'm not
Ahmed
literally talking
explaining.
about
I'm
serious?
just
numbers.
saying
Are you
And that
taking
was
Ahmed
the
the
serious?
reason
penalty kick.
Rafinha is in this conversation is because his team is also doing well. That's one of the reasons.
exactly.
How can you
Samson, this is
mention
Lampard
Reinders
standard.
when we are
This is what
mentioning
Lampard used to put up
Rafinha,
season in,
Raf,
season out.
no
Rafinha
goals?
is
They are likely to win.
top
Does he
performer
know that
for Barca this season.
Messi never achieved 20 goals and
One of
assists
Earlier
in
their
the
the
best
Champions
season.
League?
players this
Rafinha has
season.
reached
Which
that
earlier in the
figure.
season?
Earlier in
He
the
has
season.
achieved that already.
Earlier in which season?
Rafinha is so
Anyways,
frustrating right now. You should ask any
I think I think
Messi
Barcelona,
that
did
Messi
I
not
think
get
that
Barcelona
to
fan.
20
we've
goals.
we've spent too much time on Champions League and everything related to the Champions League. We need to go more domestic now,
But
and
sorry,
we'll be
sorry.
going to
You
Italy
didn't allow
first.
me to talk about party's presence. I really want to talk about that party's presence. You
Okay,
you
I'm going
you
to give you 3 minutes.
yeah, I think Jacko knocked that off,
Me too, please.
saying
I need some time to
Partey's
talk about Partey.
Partey's absence. What? You
Go ahead,
said
go ahead.
Partey's
No,
absence.
go ahead. Go ahead, Tayo.
Continue,
Yeah.
Tayo.
For me, that game, we all know how PSG planned to play. PSG came, basically they play from the wings. So you would see that once they get two passes in the midfield from Neves to Vitinha, boom, they're on the left or the right.
But the goal was straight down the middle.
Imagine a party in that midfield. They had 26 passes to that goal, and that was the first time. That was the first time Arsenal conceded such a goal without intercepting those passes. 26 passes leading to goal. If Partey was there in that match that very day, he would have intercepted one of those passes. I'm 100% sure.
So when
Partey
No,
after
we concede. But you
Partey
can't knock the
after
ball around when
Partey.
Partey is there and doesn't intercept those games.
I think that the problem Arsenal had with that goal was that they played against a false nine, which was Dembélé. Dembélé dropped
Exactly.
deep into the hole behind your
Drop deep.
midfield,
Yes.
Exactly.
exploited, and
The,
then carried the ball and they played it
the
to the
pass
left.
came
I don't think it
through
had
the
anything
middle.
to do with that. That was not even Partey's responsibility, as far as I'm concerned. But
That
Dunga
was
also
the
wants
game
to add
was an
See, so
something
but
about
the
Partey.
way
Yeah, I think Arsenal actually missed some of
that's
Partey in
not
that game.
active. She's
But can you hear me now?
right.
Yes,
Can
yes,
anyone
Yes,
hear
we
me?
can hear you.
Yeah, I
yes.
think
We can hear you.
for a shoot, Arsenal missed some of Partey in the game. I think if you had been on the field, the goal probably might not have happened. And that's because the goal was on Martin Odegaard. That was because Arsenal pressed in three. The first three pressed the back line. And the second three was supposed to be completed by Martin Odegaard. But I think he left it now because Dembélé dropped it, then received the ball deep inside his own half, made about 20 to 30 meters back to the left. Declan had to cover for somebody on the right because he didn't want to isolate the right back. So he had to go double up on Australia. Then by so doing, he expected Odegaard to fill in that void that he left behind.
So
But the man was kicked back way back in the first thing. So that was how the goal actually happened. If Partey had been there, I believe he would have manned that position and PSG wouldn't have been able to exploit that skill that was left by Odegaard. So I think if you had been there, probably something different would
All
have
of
happened.
this we can only analyze, obviously. Wednesday is almost here. God will keep us from now to Wednesday and beyond. And we're going to see,
Yeah.
what Partey is going to do.
Oh,
The
no,
different
personally, they would make that midfield better. Personally.
Obviously, Partey gives them a boost. It
Without saying
increases their
that,
quality.
Yes.
But against those workaholic, that PSG midfield has a combination of work rate and technique. As in, they're all technical. And they also work hard. I was really impressed with Neves' work rate that day. I was like, a lot of people talk about Vitinha,
Civil
but
servants, my
this
guy.
Neves guy,
Tucked
this
in,
Neves guy is just something else.
tucked in, with those his short legs.
He's just as short as Giovanni Dos Santos.
That guy is
But
9'20".
the work that
Credit
this
also
guy
has to go
does,
to Luis Enrique. Credit has to go to Luis
it's just
Enrique
crazy,
too.
man. Yes,
He has
of
turned them
course.
into
We have to give
instead of
credit to him.
monsters.
The
We're
fact
also
that they are not even
we're also leaving
relying.
out Donnarumma.
Yes,
Yeah,
Donnarumma
he
was
did. Yeah,
quite
he
impressive
gave.
too,
Yeah, it was very
especially with
impressive.
the
Yeah,
chances that Arsenal had. So,
but I
like
like
I
the
said,
fact that the
let's
OPS.
quickly move away from. If we continue talking about the Champions League, we're not going to leave it.
We're not going
Let's
to leave
quickly
here
talk
today.
about domestic league, especially the leagues that are still for lack of a better phrase, on fire
The
in leagues
competitive
that are
leagues,
still
the
bubbling.
competitive leagues.
This guy, you like Wala. In Italy, the Scudetto race has taken a bit of a twist. I lost a very important game last weekend. It was
Accept
their
our
third loss in
losses.
a row. They lost to Roma in a game that they shouldn't have lost. And as expected, Antonio Conte smelt blood and took advantage against Torino. So as it stands, Napoli are currently leading in Serie, 3 points above Inter. So Inter no longer have their fate in their hands. Now, do you guys think that Antonio Conte and his Napoli team will be able to hold on till the end of the season, or you still think that there are still some twists to be expected with about 4 games left now?
Yes, 4 games.
Yes. Well, considering the reputation Conte has from over the years, he's very well known as a one-man competition. And for this sake, they've been thrown out of the domestic cup competition since a very early stage. Up until this moment, they were very much in control of the Serie until some weeks back. They took a bit of stumble and Inter took top position. But currently, Inter has handed back over the initiative to them. Going by Conte's reputation, well, if you actually look at Napoli, they are not very impressive the way they play. They don't really look that great, so to say.
But they get the result.
That's the point. One thing they have going for them is they always grind their way out. And one man on
Milan
top
fan, the point who they impressive.
one man on top of that chart is Scott McTominay, who has been really impressive for them this season. He saved them a couple of times with his goals and marauding runs from midfield. Considering the caliber of teams they have left to face, they are facing Lecce this weekend. I can't remember the rest of their schedule at the top of my head, but I know they have a relatively easier schedule compared to that of Inter. So I think they would definitely hang in there, considering that Inter also has the distraction of Champions League second leg tie against FC Barcelona. That would add to their already stressed side. They are facing cases of fatigue and all. So based on those distractions, I think Conte side will hang in there because I think they just need to win 3 games and get a draw to get over the line. I think they'll pull through.
Okay.
I do not want us to waste too much time on the title race in Serie. I am also particular about the Champions League race. Milan ruled themselves out of the Champions League race about 2 or 3 weeks ago. But with Atalanta's draw last weekend, it looks like there might be 2 places up for grabs in that race. Off the top of my head, that would be between Bologna, Juventus, Atalanta, obviously, Lazio, and I think Fiorentina. How do you guys see this race panning out? Cass?
At the end of the day, I don't really see much difference happening because I feel Atlanta will still be able to probably pull through. I probably expect Juventus to slip their way, like I predicted last week, into the top 4. But the way things are going, I think Roma is backing down anytime soon. Points,
form is crazy.
They are doing everything right. They are hitting the right spots as it stands. Make I talk on the way as it in the paper.
They are hitting the right spots. Guy, are you sure you are still talking about football?
We are talking about football. Let the poor please, Baba. I expect Roma will just slide. They will just find their way. They will enter that top spot. No how we want to do it. The way they are going, because like we've always said in time past.
Come on.
Roma,
my friend,
why are you talking about Milan? Like, we are not talking about Barcelona, we're talking about Milano. So just so you get it right.
It's nothing to push over. You should remind
my friend, get out of here, man.
I'm being worried. Is Ahmed now working for Milan? Is he marketing Milan?
I think he's now reporting to Ibra. Will you get out of here?
All right. I'll
So
remind you
at the
guys
end of the
when
day, I
that time
just
comes. Don't worry. I'll
and
remind you guys when we face
form
Roma.
like would always form is something that once it gets on you, you believe you can do anything to anybody, and that was what made Roma go to San Siro to beat Inter. So I don't think there will be any other. I don't really think.
This
I
is
don't
the
really
reason
aside
why
from Milan. I
Arsenal
don't really
collected
think they
for
have any
PSG.
major.
They believe they were informed because they beat Madrid. People have started again.
But I feel Roma might. I'm tipping Roma ahead of Juventus assistants because their form is something that we should actually take note of.
I actually think that Roma are doing well as well, but Juventus have the better fixtures or the easier fixtures on paper.
Exactly,
So
success.
you would expect Juventus to go through.
Okay.
Samson, do you have anything to add to that? Serie A?
Yes. Bologna are just a point. Next, the current match day, Juve plays Bologna and Roma plays
Oh, wow.
Fiorentina. Yeah. Juve Bologna is this weekend. Roma plays Fiorentina. If for any reason that match ends in a draw and Roma beats Fiorentina, Roma will be level on points with Juventus in fourth.
Who has
63
the head-to-head?
points. I can't say who has the head-to-head,
I also
but
can't remember. I know they drew the second leg. I can't remember what they played. I think it was also a draw, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. But mathematically, they will be on 63 points each. Juve will have to play Lazio next, while Roma plays Atalanta. Now, considering Atalanta's form, while Milan plays Bologna. Now, let me recap the movie for you. Juve plays Bologna, Roma plays Fiorentina. If Juve and Bologna ends in a draw and Roma wins, Roma is tied on 63 points with Juve. The next match day, Bologna plays Milan, Juve plays Lazio, Roma plays Atalanta. So it's not easy for
I
anybody.
mean, the next 2 weeks will basically decide the race,
We
as far as
decide.
I'm concerned.
So
As far as I'm concerned.
Juve can still lose to Lazio. That Juve is not convincing.
Of course.
It's not
Anything can
convincing.
happen.
It's not convincing. And
And they are
Atalanta's
missing their star
form,
boy, Udis.
yeah. And considering Atalanta's form, Atalanta can go to Olimpico and lose to Roma very easily.
That's true.
Head-to-head, Fiorentina like 5-1. So
No, I'm talking about you,
Roma and Juve. Okay.
Juve Roma.
I just want to say something quickly on the title race. Napoli is playing Lecce this weekend, and Lecce are 17. They need that match.
Please don't talk about it. I don't want to. I didn't want to talk about this. Don't jinx it, please. Don't jinx it. Because that is the match that my mind has been on to turn the tide in our favor.
I'm telling
For
you,
some reason, I have a feeling that Lecce can do it.
I
But,
asterisk that match and I
I
put
just do not want to talk about it.
survived of it. But if for any reason Napoli comes out without a loss against Lecce,
I think they'll win it. It's over.
It's over. Genoa, Parma,
That is the game
Cagliari,
for me.
they don't have anything to play for. Lecce away is the game.
Lecce wins the game. So, well, I think as far as part one is concerned, we have come to the end of this session. We appreciate any viewer or all of our viewers that have been with us since the start of this particular episode to this point. It's been particularly fun for me, and I hope that it's been fun for the rest of the guys as well. Unfortunately, Tayo and JD have disappeared. I would look to get them on for the second session. And like I said earlier, we'll be uploading them on different in different parts. Please feel free to follow us on all of our social media channels. We're live on TikTok. We're live on X, formerly Twitter. We're also live on Facebook, and we would also appreciate your comments, likes, and subscription on YouTube. Until we see you again in the next session, have a lovely day. Bye bye. Right.